Thank you. All right, you can see the logo of Build Peoria. Build Peoria is a local nonprofit started in 2017. Their mission is to unite the community through the love of the Peoria area. They physically build projects in Peoria in order to make Peoria a better place, as well as leave a legacy for future generations. They believe the future of fundraising is not how to find 10 people to donate $10,000, but how to find 10,000 people to donate $10. They believe that building this base will lead to a greater Peoria for future generations. Nick Yates and Pete Chambers are both leaders and founders of Build Peoria. They both went to Richwoods High School and U of I. They left Peoria when Caterpillar transferred them. I guess Caterpillar transferred you back. Welcome back. And they wanted to make Peoria a better place after leaving it. So they decided to do something in terms of building projects, and I'll pass it to Nick and Pete to let them go through the details. So welcome them.
Well, thank you, Kurt. What Kurt left out of the story was that Kurt and I were introduced 16 years ago when I moved out to Seattle to become. He was one of my first ever bosses out in Seattle. So this one time, Kurt and I were out drinking, and
only one.
I'm just kidding. But thanks a lot for having us out tonight, today, guys. I really want to tell a little story about Build Peoria and a little bit about how we were founded and why we exist, and then maybe at the end of how we can partner together. So I guess first up, on the first slide, I want to talk about what Kurt mentioned before, is that our mission is to be able to unite the community through the love of the Peoria area, to be able to physically build it into a better place and leave a legacy for future generations. So what we effectively did was very similar to what I've heard here today. Build Peoria was started back when we were at Wingfest. Anybody have been to Wingfest before in Peoria? Yeah, so we showed up to drink beer and eat wings. And then before you knew it, we realized that we raised $30,000 for the Friendship House up the street, and said, wow, this is really cool. I came here to eat wings, drink beer, and we did something good. And my wife said challenge, right? Like any good wife that she is, she said challenge. And she regretted it a little bit the first year. But after that, after we built Build Peoria into what we are today, at the 501c3 level, and be able to find our mission, what we're really proud of is to be able to come together to be able to figure out how we can make Peoria a better place. And Kurt mentioned the key things that we want to talk about here today about the crowdsourcing, right, of charity. But we think that there's a lot of the younger people in Peoria that can donate those $10 or donate the $5 or $1, whatever it is. But hopefully we can unite them with the people who have the ability to donate more, right? Because as you get older, you get a little bit, you're able to give back to the community a little bit more. So they always ask us, hey, how do we help the younger generations come in, and the younger generation say, hey, how do we connect with that older, the older group? So that's what we're really here to do, is to be able to connect those two generations. So go ahead and go, Ed. Pete.
Sure. Yeah, so we have just 3 project guidelines, okay? First and foremost, we're not a big organization. We're a completely volunteer-led board. So we ask that any projects that are submitted are within about a $50,000 budget, and that you've done your due diligence ahead of time to make sure that it's going to meet that budget. And that's both the monetary budget as well as a thoughtful consideration as to in-kind donations. We've had some great partners over the years building some of our projects. Timeline, this is really critical, and we've basically held true to this throughout our organization's history. The project is such that we fundraise for 1 year, and then we build it the next year. And then getting down to that third leg, we hand the keys off to someone else, an organization that initiated the project, requested the project. We aren't an organization that's going to be able to spread ourselves so thin and be able to maintain all of these. And we've had some great partners over the years. If you want to flip to the next slide. So it all started in the Peoria Heights area. Duryea Dog Park is at the end of Duryea Street. There was a piece of ground that was unused. And I was not actually a founding member of Build Peoria. I came on in the next year. But Nick and the team raised money and built Duryea Dog Park right off the Rock Island Trail. Our biggest project to date is pictured there, and that is the renovation of a 100-year-old home in the near North Valley neighborhood, and then donation of that home to the Peoria Police Department as a part of their resident officer program. That one was just a touch outside of the $50,000 budget we came to find. The next year, we met a critical need in placing some CityLink bus shelters at some locations, one of which you can actually see right across from the Dream Center, downtown Peoria. And then in our most recent years, we were involved with laying the concrete pads that would eventually house the Donovan Sculpture Garden. And then most recently down next to the Proctor Recreation Center, an idea coming from Bob Woolsey, if you know Mr. Woolsey. He's an idea man. He had a dream to knock down 3 arson-ridden homes and to build a community park down there. It's called Potent Gratitude Park. And I'm gonna see if I can get this right. Potent stands for all the things we should be grateful for in our lives: people, opportunities, things, experiences, nature, and thought.
Nice.
Yes. And then this last year, we've just completed the fundraising effort for Market 309 by Peoria Grown. I understand that Julie has come to speak to you before, so she's been a great partner, and they're building a brick and mortar location that we're helping to outfit so that they can bring fresh fruit and vegetables to those in need. So I'm going to flip to the next slide. And I apologize, you're not going to be able to read this, but do you want to walk them through?
Sure. So the 3 projects that we have this year. So why we're here today is that everyone can submit their projects to Build Peoria. So anybody and everybody could have submitted their projects to Build Peoria. We opened that up on April 1st, or March 1st, I'm sorry. So March 1st, we opened it up. And then on April 1st, what we as a board do is we say, hey, which one of these 20-some projects that we got are worth it? So what we did was for a month, we vetted out those projects and we narrowed down to these 3. So, one of the prides of Build Peoria is we want to involve the public and we want to give them a chance to be able to be a part of our organization as well. And that's what we really get excited for is how do you submit that idea to us? And these are the 3 ideas we came. So the first one was the Christian Center. So the idea around the Christian Center is to be able to upgrade their dugouts and possibly put a scoreboard up. That one's really exciting to me because I actually played baseball there when I was a little kid. I remember my first T-ball game was down there. So that one was really cool as well. The community walking trail outside of Crittenden Center. Right now they have a walking trail there now, but it really isn't paved and doesn't have anything else that they can really access, right? So they're talking about putting up some structures as well as paving the community walking trail. And then the other one is an outdoor classroom. So again, the Peoria boy that I am, the Peoria Zoo submitted this one, and as a little kid, I remember going out to the zoo. I remember going outside. I remember being really hot. We spent all day out there learning about something, and I'm just like, this is miserable. I don't want to be out there because it's so hot. So what they actually proposed is that they would make that outdoor area shaded and an area for everybody to sit and enjoy their time out there. So those are the 3 projects that we have today. If you go out to buildpeoria.org, and then go to vote. So buildpeoria.org/vote. So buildpeoria.org/vote, and you can actually vote on which one of these 3 projects you want.
Or at the end of.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
And looking around this room, and I'm looking at the table of students right there,
Yeah.
go vote. Because
Yeah.
part of the reason that we're here, the last leg of our mission, is to build a better Peoria for future generations, okay? So go out, vote, tell your friends to go vote, and then become a part of, like this group and our group and other great philanthropies in the Peoria area, become a part of that philanthropic scene. Because, our community and a lot of communities around the country need that, so.
Yeah, we thought that, how do we unite those 2 generations? And we realized it was the barrier to entry, right? It was that barrier to entry of philanthropy. We realized that we wanted to be able to say anybody can help build something, because when you're sitting in a fundraiser and you build something, you say, I helped build that. That was the cool feeling, right? You were sitting down there at Wingfest and said, I helped the Friendship Center up the house, or up the street, sorry. I helped friendship house up the street. That was the cool part. So what we realized was how do we unite those two generations, and that's what we're really excited about is that anybody can vote, anybody can be a part of Build Peoria and what they're doing. So go ahead and go to the next slide. So yeah, that was really all we had to cover. I think what we really wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of was that we don't know what our next project is going to be. We won't know that until June 1st. And I'll tell you what, we've already had 1,000 people that have submitted their votes. 1,000 people. Thanks for everybody who's voted out there that have submitted their votes. And I anticipate this year is going to be the one that's going to surpass the record of 3,000 votes. So I really think this year will be good. So if anybody can think of one thing today, about one thing that you're going to take away, it's go to buildpeoria.org/vote and vote for the project you want to do, because it's free. And then what that ultimately helps us do is to be able to communicate to you once per month, I promise, one email per month, and just those 3 key bullet points that we talk about. Sorry, so the other point that we want to talk about is like, how do you get involved? How do you learn more about Build Peoria? The other idea is that we're actually going to have a bar takeover over at Olympia on May 13th. So on May 13th, it's a Saturday, we're actually going to have a bar takeover across the street at 3 p.m. or sorry, 2 p.m. We changed the time, sorry. So it's at 2 p.m. Where everybody can come in, and anything that you tip will actually go to Build Peoria. So this has kind of become our quasi
post-COVID.
Yeah, post-COVID, right? We went through the iterations of COVID, right? Everyone knows the struggles of trying to fundraise in COVID. One of the things we realized was everybody just wants to go out and drink and talk to everybody. and what we realized was that we can do that by doing these bar takeovers. So what we're doing is Chris Setti and Joshua Gunn are actually going to be the celebrity bartenders. So for those 3 hours, those are going to be the 2 bartenders. They're going to be going against each other. The first half is going to be Chris, and then the second half is going to be Josh. And they're going to, whoever raises the most money will actually win. And what you win is a good thumbs up, but or a free T-shirt or something. But the point is, we're just trying to get everybody out to realize that building of community by coming out and being a part of the community. So that's the fun part about those bar takeovers.
Where are you getting your money?
Great question. So Build Peoria, yeah. So I mentioned before, we're all volunteers, right? So one of those, the cool part is that we just unite everybody, and we get it all through private donations. So you might get someone who donates $1, $10, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, and that's what helps us raise those about $50,000 every year. Is a bar takeover. So bar takeover, we make between $300 and $4,000 at bar takeovers. We made $4,000 one year. I don't understand how it happened, but everybody was drinking and having a fun time and donating. So that's what it was all about. We brought a cowbell. The cowbell's down at every single bar takeover, I'll tell you that. But it's all through private donations, long story to say. Is we don't have any grants, we don't have any federal or state or local funding. Sure, we partner with a lot of the local governments here to get a lot of our projects done, but we don't have any grants from them. Go ahead.
So whichever event wins this year, are the other 2 events then postponed till the year after, or do you start from scratch?
We start from scratch, but we have had projects that have been resubmitted in the next year. But really, one thing that we've seen as well, so a project that did not win was the playground, the accessible playground in Peoria Heights. And we like to think that that was the year, I think, that we got the 3,000 votes. So that public attention, I believe if they haven't finished it, it's getting close to being finished. So that public attention brought other donors in to, make sure you donate to them too.
Yeah. I won't claim that we helped him win, but he will. So
I think the Gilmore Foundation might have helped.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
So did you have more than 3 that you never?
Yeah.
How many did you have, and can you tell us about any of those others?
Yeah, we had about 25, I think, this year that we had. We narrowed it down to about 10 that we vetted out. So we had 10 projects that we went out and looked at and made sure that everything had their ducks in a row. Everything from, we were joking before, of go fix all the roads, go fill all the potholes, right? To something that are these 3. It really varies in the development of those projects. So the answer is, which one of these that we did not pick, if you're asking about those projects, Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
you can give a.
Sure, yeah, I mean, so, one that I vetted, I don't know if you're familiar with 22VA, Michael Rager, is a veteran and 22 service members commit suicide, every single day in this country. So he started an organization called 22VA. In fact, 22VA was somewhat of a passion project for Bruce Brown, who we partnered with on the, sculpture garden. And with Michael's project, it was a good project. He wanted to create a, kind of a community garden that it's in kind of like meditation type garden, things of that nature, as well as a mural recognizing the reasons that veterans choose to live and choose to fight for our freedoms and things like that. So really great project, but there were just certain components that weren't fully vetted. So what I told Michael is let's stay together, let's keep in touch, and let's talk about how either we can get you in touch with someone within the organization, within the community that wants to help you get this fully vetted, or so that it can be a project submission for next year. So that's a really good example of where when we go out and we vet, we've got a criteria that we're looking at, we've got questions that we're needing to ask, because admittedly, the police house, for example, was a huge endeavor for us. That is a 100-year-old home. We were quoted a certain value to have it turned over. And of course, as with home construction, that was not the value that it came down to be. And so we after that, we made sure to fully vet projects, most of all for the budget. We've got a board member as well who's connected with the United Way. So as you can see, a couple of these are United Way Foundation services. So we did have quite a few submissions for those types of organizations as well. And for one reason or another, just needed to get a little bit more information or a little bit more thought before we take it forward to a public vote with too many projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was there another question?
Ask how many people have already voted.
I can look at my phone here.
No, I mean here.
Oh, how many people in the room have voted? All right. So we got about 10 or 15 people that have voted. So let's hope that by the next meeting, you guys can all raise your hand, right?
And the crazy thing about this year's voting across these three projects, and I'm going to look right now, I've never seen a pie graph that's more evenly spread when I looked at this yesterday. So 1,057 votes right now, and I'm not going to tell you who's in the lead, but again, it looks a lot like a peace sign. So go out and vote, and yeah, go ahead.
Is it just one vote?
One vote, please.
Everybody gets one vote, but if you come out to the bar takeovers, if you come in person to the bar takeovers and you donate $20, you can actually get an extra vote. So if you come out and you want to donate, you want a tip, you can have the extra vote along the way. Sorry, go ahead.
You get a vote for free.
For free.
Everybody gets a free vote.
Yeah.
But if you dip, for every $20 you tip, you can have an extra vote.
Okay.
Yes. And there should be representatives. We've just reached out to all of the, all three of the projects. There should be a representative from each one of the projects there to answer questions, to drum up enthusiasm for their project. So yeah, if you've not been to Olympia, fantastic food, really good libations, great atmosphere. It'll be a Saturday before Mother's Day, so.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you have future growth plans, maybe at some point, to do 2 projects a year or 3.
So great question and great point, right? We get asked about our growth plans all the time. And what I'm here to tell you is we don't want to grow any more than what we are. We want to be successful at what we're doing. And every project that we do, we want to be able to have our day jobs and then also do this job. So it's that fine moment of, you want to be successful, but you don't want to be too successful because you don't want to end up doing what we did before, which was rebuilding a house into what it was. So the lesson we've learned is we all want to have our day jobs, but we also want to give back to the community. So we're going to stick with one project for now, unless for some reason I quit my job and become a charity guy.
Yeah. Well, and if you have a project that raises more than $50,000, we allocate it to that project. So Boat and Gratitude Park is a great example.
Yeah.
Bob Woolsey, Hetty Elliott, Marcella Somerville, they got the word out. They're fundraising machines, and they've raised more than $50,000. And if you go down nearby Proctor and Missionary Baptist Church right there, you'll be able to see it completed in about a month, I would think, and it's gorgeous. It's going to be beautiful. So
next to Sovereign Grace.
Yeah.
How many laborers do you have in your group?
So we don't have any laborers on our board. But we do have connections to a couple areas that get us connected to laborers. So there are a couple contractors that we work with who connect us with the laborers. We work all with the union guys, all the guys that are part of the union. So we work a lot with those 20 people. I'm trying to think of which one to name, but either way, the point is we work with all laborers right now.
Yeah, the police house, for all the
Yeah.
challenges we faced, we made some great connections.
Yeah.
And so that's been a benefit for years to come, hopefully.
Yeah, Clint Drury and Jimmy Dillon were the two West Central Trades guys, and we worked with them, and they were phenomenal.
And
They were-
I would be remiss, because I see he has the microphone. So we used to have a chili cook-off. Mr. Jason Mott always hosted us at Dozer Park. And if anyone's been to the chili cook-off, we thought it was a fantastic event. Always great hospitality from Dozer Park. Unfortunately, we asked our restaurants to donate their time and their product to that. And post-COVID, that became much more difficult for them. So we had to cancel last year's chili cook-off, unfortunately, because we just couldn't get, we asked over 30 restaurants, and we weren't able to field enough restaurants to feel that the ticket was worth the price. Thankfully, the bar takeovers have been a really good supplement to our fundraising efforts, but we do anticipate this year, hopefully depending on what project is selected, that we can start to envision what that next big community fundraising event would be, so that we're not just going piecemeal month to month.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one thing that, just to kind of give the club a heads up, one thing that we're looking at as a board is, 5 years ago, we did a big project right down where we did the project, the 50th anniversary. One thing we want to look at is, hey, how can we get back every few years? And that's one reason that Build Peoria is here. We are going to have a conversation with them to see if maybe one of these projects, or one that was submitted that wasn't through, is something that we think is an impact that we can do as an organization. It's something that Greg and the board and foundation and I have had conversations about, our board has. So it's something that, they do a great job of vetting these projects. And that takes a lot of stress off of us and what we want to do. But we want to look at what's the next good project we can get back to the community. And so we look forward to seeing if this is a road that we can look at with these two guys. So I appreciate them coming today.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Jason. I think that's a key part about, the other takeaway that I want to make sure that we work through is how can we partner together? Because to me, the future is how do we unite all of our collective efforts, right? All of our collective people, because we all want to give back. We all want to do something good, and we all want to service our community. So if that's partnering together, that's one option. If it's, hey, take the scraps, right? Take the people who got second, or take the people who got third. They're great projects. They're amazing projects that would love to have any benefit that we can give them. So we don't care, right? The reality is we want to help do this one project, and that's it. So if you tell us that the second project is going to be yours, you go for it. Absolutely, we can work together to figure out what that is.
What are your day jobs?
So I'm a used manager at CAT.
And I'm a corporate supplier finance manager at Caterpillar.
Yeah.
And we're not all Caterpillar board.
Yeah.
There's only, I think it's just the two of us.
Two of us, yeah, it's
so
just the two of
it
us.
just happens to be the two
Yeah.
of us who are here.
We're the only ones that have the workplace flexibility to be able to do
There,
this. Any other questions?